Hi, everybody. I am Heather Wild. Welcome back to the summit. We have Jen and let's see if I can do this and Cass with us from Digital Course Hive. Hi, ladies. Thanks for being
Hi.
here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So tell us what do you do?
Cassie and I are systems architects. We're really business technology experts. So we focus around business technology, business strategy, and making sure people are successful from the tech standpoint, whether they're just starting or large corporations. Um, Tech is not one size fits all, and so we're kind of here to clear the air about that.
Love it. Cassie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, we have been helping people build their websites and funnels for how long now? 6 years together, probably longer than that apart. And then we have our own tech system that we've started to help people, do it themselves if they don't want to hire a professional.
Nice, nice. And I'm being very transparent about how I know everybody on the summit. So they are actually the people that my funnel and my email marketing and everything is being hosted through. So I am using Digital Course Hive and I'm really liking it. And we're going to talk a little bit about all-in-one platforms because that's what it is, and I'll let them define that and everything. I actually bribed them, actually paid them to help me actually set my stuff up so that I didn't have to learn the system. Like I could just go in and it's easier for me to have to tweak something that's already done than to go through all the tutorials, but they do have a lot of great tutorials as well. So they've just been very ethical in the way that they've helped me and dealt with with any issues that have come up, just minor questions. They've really been there to answer my questions and everything. So that's how they earned their spot at the summit.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So there's so many all-in-one platforms out there. And then there's, platforms that just do email marketing. Can you kind of define what an all-in-one platform is and kind of talk about how it's different from some of the other solutions out there?
Yeah. So I can start this out, Cassie, and I'll let you take over the Zapier discussion. So all-in-one platform is essentially just having all of your business under one roof. So you can have your website, you can have your funnels, you can have your CRM system or contact management, you can have your emails, you can have your anything you need for your business is usually housed under this one roof. Some are
Scheduler.
extremely complicated, large systems like Infusionsoft, which I think is now Keep. Like there's huge systems out there.
Salesforce is an absolute nightmare. Just gonna start off strong with that.
Kartra.
And I don't think there's a single person that would disagree with us. Even if they love the system, they'll be like, it's complicated. But so you're able to house everything under one roof, and a good all-in-one, should be intuitive, easy to use, not overcomplicated. Um, and the reason most people are trending, or they have been for the past few years, to doing an all-in-one is because when you have to put all systems together, so if you have an email system plus a different site for your website plus forms, or you have quizzes over here, or you have something over here, you have to use something called Zapier. And Cassie, I can go into kind of how those systems break and what you're looking at just from a tech standpoint.
Zapier essentially simplifies the API process between connecting one thing to another. So for example, they submit a form on my website and now I need to connect it via API into my email system. So if you have two different systems that way, and it's not an all-in-one, you have to manually do that API to connect the two together. Versus an all-in-one, it's already connected. You don't have to worry about things breaking. You don't have to worry about connecting that API. If the words API make you want to crawl into a hole, then your all-in-one might be a good solution for you.
Yeah. And go ahead.
Oh, it's just for people that aren't, and 99% of the people that come to us, whether they're hiring us to personally build something for them or they're coming to the system, are quote unquote not tech savvy. And so when you say, oh, well, you're gonna have to connect these different systems using, Web Connect or API connection or Zapier, it may look good because you're only paying $12 for this email system and $15 for this website and then $20 for Zapier. But when you add it all up and then you put the manual load of you having to do this process, it doesn't outweigh the benefits. The features don't outweigh the benefits.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, if you're working so hard to create your leads and you're, doing your marketing and you're showing up and you're doing all the things, the last thing you want is for there to be some glitch between your software's communication and you have people signing up for your event, for instance, but they're not getting the emails to warm them up and you just kind of lose those leads, right? So it can be, you can save money, but that saving you money can end up being quite costly.
Exactly.
Yeah, not good, not cute. Okay. So I think we kind of talked about, like, I think everybody kind of gets the picture about why something like this can be helpful. What type of entrepreneurs does having an all-in-one platform benefit the most in your experience?
Really anyone. Our system has e-commerce, so we have quite a few e-commerce. We have coaches, a lot of coaches, a lot of service professionals, so VAs, website builders, automation experts, and then we have coaches, or of course creators and coaches that specialize in everything from professional athletes to tarot cards. I mean, there isn't a person out there that wouldn't benefit from an easy to use system or an all-in-one. I think it just, depending on the large scope of what you're looking to do. If you're trying to build a bank, all-in-one probably won't be for you. It's going to need to be a little bit more custom. But if you're trying in the online business or as an entrepreneur to sell things online through funnels, email marketing, and your website, it's a fit.
Nice.
I agree. It's hard to say like what specific entrepreneur would benefit from an all-in-one system when I really think all of them would. And you see a lot of tech companies that previously would specialize in one thing start to try to go all in one, because I think it's really something that's beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I think especially, and again, guys, I'm not trying to talk you into working with them, but I am going to talk to you about the benefits and the different things that I've seen, because like their platform is not prohibitively expensive for somebody who is newer. I could feel good about, if one of my clients came to me and they're like, hey, I want to upgrade, I would be like, okay, go talk to them. I would not send them to Kartra or Infusionsoft or Kajabi or anything like that, because it's so expensive and it's for most people really complicated to figure out, and they have better things to do with their time. So, and I kind of just talked about this, but like, what stage of business do you think I'm sorry, I'm having to like transpose these questions. Getting an all-in-one system is best for, and is there a time that's too early to do this for most like coaches and healers?
I want to say no. I want to say it's never too early, but for me personally, and we can kind of dive into how tech is very personal, but me personally, I'd rather start things off on a good foot. Like I want to do it right the first time instead of trying to backtrack my way back.
Mm-hmm.
And do it right the second time because I tried to save $20. But we were talking about this earlier as well. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to dive into a $600, all-in-one system or $200 all-in-one system. That might not be necessary for you right now.
And there's a lot of great all-in-one systems out there that aren't as expensive as something like Kajabi or Kartra. We're just one of them. So it really depends. It's personal. That's why there's always trials on something. Everybody needs to get in there and give it a shot first. Us, Go High Level, System.io, Circle. There's a lot of, systems out there that are considered all in one. Now, some may have, one more feature than the other. They're all going to look different on the backside. But ultimately, it's what you're comfortable with, because what's intuitive for me is not going to be intuitive for you. So I think it's important for you to get in, try it out. I think a lot of people rush their tech because
Mhm.
it's like when I go to the gym, I just rush it to get it over with, and it doesn't matter what I do because I'm there, I'm clocking the hours to make me mentally feel better. But am I accomplishing anything? Probably not, because I'm just rushing to get out of there. So it's the same thing with tech. I think people kind of wash their hands of it and say, hey, I'm not a tech person. I don't feel comfortable in here.
Mhm.
I'm just going to look at it. And if it works, whatever,
Yeah.
okay, I'll figure it out.
So
And
and so said
on to
this
the
was
next,
the best system. Check that off my to-do list.
right?
Jump right in.
Yeah. So I think people need to kind of sit in those uncomfortable moments in their
Mhm.
technology and say, okay, is this really for me? I think it is one of the biggest decisions you could have, you know,
Mhm.
and one of the scariest decisions you can have because you're not an expert in that field. You may be an expert in soccer, you might be an expert in tarot card, you might be an expert in, holistic healing, but you're not an expert in technology. And so when people get in there, it's really uncomfortable for them and they just want to get out or be like, okay, I'm going to use this template and build the site and then I'm going to go over here and post on social media or talk about what I know where their comfort zone is. Um, so I feel like using an all-in-one system from the get-go, even if you don't use all the systems in it, find one that's comfortable and intuitive for you, and then be uncomfortable in it. Like sit
Mhm.
in it for a long time. Um, Cassia has a talent. There's not a system she can't learn in 15 minutes. It's her personal motto. Like, but there's other things where she's really uncomfortable to do, and she'll sit there for a long time. Me, the same. I'm not as great at technology. I've sat in it long enough and been uncomfortable for 99% of my life in it. So that's the only reason I know it. I think people just kind of have to sit in it and
Mhm.
be okay to ask the questions and take a minute and watch some videos and slow down because
Mhm.
why
Yeah.
rush setting up your business?
Mhm.
I've never understood that. Like,
Mhm.
set your SOP, make your user experience great, make sure you know how to use the system so if something does break you're able to fix it. There's no rush on the technology.
Right.
Test it out, try it, and then stick with the one you want to stick with.
Yeah,
Because
I think go
oh, go ahead.
ahead.
A lot of people have wasted money hiring us to switch them from system to system because a new coach told them to switch to this system and it would be better for them, or they saw something online that said, oh, this is a better system, when in
Right.
reality when they come to us we have to say, hey, this not
Don't worry.
necessarily
Yeah.
better, it's just different.
Yeah, and I was
So
gonna
then
say
they're
that too,
wasting
like,
thousands. Go ahead.
yeah, if you start with one system and you don't take the time to learn it and you say, okay, somebody said this is the best, I'm gonna stick with it. I did take the time to learn it. Well, you're gonna take the time to learn the second one when you figure out that the first one was right for you.
Yeah, so find something from the get-go and stick with it.
Yeah, well,
But you have to try them all out first. So
yeah, like the only reason I hesitate, I mean, if people will take the time and really investigate things and find something that works for them, try, a few things, I think it is really great advice to like just stick with that because it is complicated, time consuming, or expensive to, trade to a different system, right? And ideally you get it all set up and then you can just keep using, your templates and, your website and, your templates for your email, and everything over and over again, right? The only thing I would say about that is if you're in a system, like I've tried Go High Level twice under two different skins, right? Because the Go High Level, people can buy it and rename it and like change things around, but it's still Go High Level. And I even had like 4 one-to-one sessions with somebody on how to use it, and it still broke my head. And so, they were offering me really good support, but for me, I knew for that system, I was going to have to rely on them all the time, asking them questions, or at least for a good long while. And it was not worth it to me. I didn't have the brain space for it. And
yeah,
that's
and
not to
we've
say that
even
you
told
wouldn't.
people, when you're starting out, you don't need any system. You can create a landing page on Canva, and when somebody opts into something, email them. Hand to
Yes.
hand email. You're not doing a mass amount of people. You don't need a mass system to do that.
Hmm.
You know, we've had some of the greatest courses we've ever launch out of Google Docs. You don't have to have a complicated system. You
Hmm.
don't. If you're just starting out, put up a landing page and see if anybody clicks on a button to schedule a time with you. That's
Sure.
it. That's one thing you got to do. Or you can email them by hand, have a template, copy and paste it over when they email you, and you can
Mhm.
do everything you need to do. You do not need automations. You do not need heavy systems. So if people are still in the testing out my entrepreneurship, testing out my business
Yeah.
idea, maybe don't go into any system. Maybe
Mhm.
test it out on something that's, a one-page website on Canva for, 20, what's the premium pro was like $20 a month. I don't even know. We have two Canva accounts. We've
Well,
had it for years, but I don't know the price. Um, so there's simple ways to do things if you're just starting out. Where tech is just something that you need to consider for automations and scaling. And if
Mhm.
you're to that point, um, then you're making a big decision because you don't have to
Sure.
have it.
And thank you for that. And then like this is what I'm stopping and pausing every time one of my speakers really exhibits qualities of a high integrity entrepreneur, and that was it. Like she's not sitting here and trying to scare you and saying that like hers is the best, it's the only one, and that everybody needs it and they need it right fucking now. Like she's like, it can benefit you even as a brand new entrepreneur, but there are other ways that you can go with it. And, just so you guys know, if you do go, the Canva route or, Google Docs route, I had somebody send me a beautiful landing page. No, it wasn't a landing page. It was kind of like a brochure for there. And I don't know what magic they used, but this damn thing was beautiful. And it was a Google Doc.
Yeah.
And this is a well-established coach, but then she does have automations for people to actually opt into things. But if you're going the route where it's a Canva template, or you're sending people a PDF or a Google Doc, there is going to be extra steps of work involved, because you do need to at very least put those people's names on a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or an Excel somewhere and keep track of your leads. So that's something that, when you are ready to go into the automations, then people opting in, it'll automatically go into your CRM, and it does make your life a little easier. So thank you so much for that. I
Oh,
really
no problem.
appreciate the
Kathy
transparency.
and I always want to see people spending money where it counts. If you're doing ads or paying yourself to show up online more, social media, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
Tech is going to be a big part of your life ongoing as an entrepreneur, no matter what. But if you're just starting out and you're making no money and you have no leads, exactly, put together a Google website. My daughter's Girl Scout troop uses a Google website, and it's password protected. And like, you can give people the password when they DM you on social media, and they can go in and see what you offer, book a time. So, there's so many ways you can go around not needing technology when you're first out there. I think it is a big disservice when people try to push tech first.
Mhm.
We know how important technology is. We've seen the advantages of it. But I think when we started, what did we start with? We didn't start with anything fancy. I don't
I think
remember. We probably threw up a WordPress site. Like it was nothing, and everything was just book a call with us, book a call
Mhm.
with us, book a call with us. There was no freebie, there was no pipeline, there was no funnel. It was just, hey, I have something to offer, and you can get on a call with me, and I'll tell you about it. And that was it.
Yep.
And we did 6 figures in our first year with this website that had bridges all over it. Cassia still hates to this day. But like, it just doesn't have to be that complicated.
I love that. I love that. I really do. Okay. So we touched on this a little bit, but this is one of the things that I find is that some people have been kind of brainwashed by online marketing into thinking that they just need to throw money at it and it's going to fix everything and they're going to get amazing results just because they invested. Other people haven't been brainwashed, but they just don't know what they don't know, and they have an idea that they're just going to hire somebody or buy this product, and it's going to be instant rewards, right? So kind of coming from that, like, what do people need to be prepared for and committing to doing to make having an all-in-one platform really be a good investment for their business?
Cassia, you want to touch on?
I want to say to make it a good investment for your business, you need to have a game plan about where you're leading people, whether it's you're just getting started and you want it to just be a homepage to a checkout, or a homepage to a book a call, to an initial email saying, hey, your call is booked, or if it's a freebie or a funnel, just have a game plan. You know, don't just get a technology and just kind of hope it's going to fall together. If you you know, spend the money on the technology, spend the money on the ads, just have a game plan, like whatever that is.
Yeah, we work a lot with people on business strategy and UX, specifically because a lot of people will come to us with some really pretty show it website that has no conversion capability, or you know, a really high end, high quality design through WordPress that, and then they're like, I'm making no money. And you're like, there's no buttons on your site. It's just a bunch of videos. Like, it's the strategy behind what you're doing and why you're doing it needs to fall into place. And that can't change as often as people want to change it. I think once people create a PDF or a freebie and their information's out there and they're talking about it online, they're like, okay, I got another idea for the next freebie. And then people come to us with 24 freebies and it's too much. Like, stick with one, maybe one a quarter. Like, bring it down, because you need to have that value ladder set in place. We're not just giving out freebies every month. We want the freebie to go to the micro course, to go to the major course, to go to your large level product, to go to, you know, downsell here, book a time. Like, you need to have your value ladder really planned out. And then your websites and your funnels and your annual marketing plan need to revolve around what that value ladder is.
Yeah.
Some sort of, you just kind of have to. And I think a lot of people are like, well, so and so said if I just make a freebie and start building my list, it's all gonna happen. No. Then you just have a bunch of people on the list and you have nothing to email them for 12 months, and then you have no list
And they drop
at the end of
off.
all this. Yeah. So I think solid strategy when you go into online business is so important. And strategy.
And I know that it's just such BS advice, because it's like, well, whose strategy? What strategy? What should the strategy be? It's such an unending pit of like, what do you do?
Because it's, again, not one size fits all. Like, the
Correct.
strategy we have for a professional athlete isn't going to be the same strategy we have for an e-commerce TikTok shop. They're totally different strategies, and it goes beyond knowing your audience. Every coach out there, first thing they say is know your audience, right? It's more than that. If you have an audience, this is just one example we worked with this morning. If you have an audience who is men over the age of 50, and your funnel is giving away a freebie on anxiety, we have a disconnect in your strategy, right?
Yep.
Because no man over the age of 50 is probably admitting he has anxiety. Although the anxiety may apply to your upper level program, which would benefit men over the age of 50, it's not a self-identifier, which is going to bring them to the realization of, oh, I need this freebie, and then you have them in a funnel. So strategy is so important, and that value ladder needs to connect. We've seen this numerous times where somebody's like, I have a PDF on anxiety and my course is about riding horses. You're like, how do we get there? Like, maybe it connects. I don't know everything yet, but like, maybe it connects. Let's build the value ladder based off of what we're doing. And I think people try to be an all-in-one for that. So they're like, well, I know anxiety, and then I also am, you know, parentification, or I'm working with children under the age of 12 on, you know, how to grow up, or high schoolers with sports anxiety. And then you're like, okay, the pieces aren't falling into place. You need to pick a lane. You need to build your value ladder on that. And then you can branch out wherever you want.
And that's a huge thing, you know. A lot of us are multi-passionate. You know, I've done transformational coaching and I've done sex coaching, and I'm damn good at both of them. But I recognize that sales coaching is how I can have the most impact, because sales is something that's usually really hard for heart-centered people, for high integrity entrepreneurs, because there's so many sleazy strategies out there. And so you know, once I get everything where I want and I'm having the impact I want as a sales coach, then I am going to branch out and do some of these other things because they're fun, but you can't confuse people, you know? So I love that you said that. That's just, yes, thank you. Yeah. No, I love all that. And, you know, I think, you know, even if you're hiring someone, like I hired Jen and Cass to actually make my funnel and to set up my emails and everything. And, you know, I didn't just throw money to her and just be like, okay, go for it. I had to tell her, you know, I had to know my branding. I had to, you know, tell her and give her the fonts that I wanted to use. I had to give her, and there was back and forth in communication about, okay, I like this, but, you know, can we test this? So I think that a lot of people think that when they're hiring a graphic designer or a web designer or somebody to do funnels or copy anything, they have this delusion that they're just going to throw money at it and it's going to be fine. Like they're going to get back all of their time because they're not going to have to spend any time on it. And it's like, no, you're going to get back some of your time because you're not providing the labor, but you're not going to get back all your time because you've still got to collaborate with them to get it done.
You gotta know where the car's going. Just because you're not driving the car, you still gotta navigate.
Well
All right,
said.
give me just 1 second, you guys. I'm so sorry. My daughter's school has called twice.
Oh,
They've never called me in all the years she's gone to school. So just give me
sure.
all right. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. That's why we're entrepreneurs, so that we can be like, you know what? There's some life shit I got to take care of real quick, right? Okay. So, all right. So we'll get all centered and everything. Was there anything else you wanted to add on that question of like what they need to prepared for, or committed to?
And I think they need to be committed to doing the work. You get a lot of people who think technology or one VA or one funnel is going to solve all their problems. You need to understand that being an entrepreneur is about pivoting. Once you learn to do things one way, the market shift may have you doing it another way in 30 days. So I think being adaptable is a huge part of being an entrepreneur. I mean, just from our own experience, Cassie and I have owned 4 businesses at this point. We're rebranding one. It's a constant shift in what you're doing. And as you grow and add things.
But also, like, you wanted to do this. Like, it's fun. You know, it's okay if you have to keep doing it and keep shifting it.
Yeah.
You know?
And you do it, maybe you have better features. Maybe like you switch kind of your specialty to stay within the area, but just something different, or have a different marketing take on it, or, you know, go for a different client base. It's always going to be changing. So you have to be adaptable. And be okay with that. I think we get a lot of people that are like kind of panic or go into an anxiety attack when something isn't working properly or doesn't shift. And I don't think Cassie and I are any help, because we'll listen and be like, what do you want to do? Let's just do it right now. Let's just fix it. What do you want to tell me your strategy? It can happen.
Right.
But you gotta come up with the shift. And that would be the same way if you're working with any VA or any system out there, you're on chat support or any professionals. You have to be like, okay, the market shifted and, you know, no one wants to be on a webinar anymore, because that's just where I am mentally. Like, I'd be like, no. And then so you're like, okay, no one opted in for my webinar. I need to shift and build my audience a different way. It doesn't have to be a large process. It can be as simple as creating a PDF that's 4 or 5 pages long with some journal entries and creating a different funnel. But I think sometimes people get a little bit overwhelmed, or it's part of that like full tech, not comfortable in the switch yet. Like, it's all going to be okay. Like, you got this.
Yeah, and I've got I haven't interviewed her yet, but I'm really looking forward to interviewing Alyssa Hutchinson for the summit. She does she's a trauma-informed somatic coach and breath work, and we're going to be talking about, you know, the benefits of regulating your nervous system, because entrepreneurship, it's a wild ride, and if you don't know how to center yourself, or, you know, and a lot of coaches and healers are were drawn to this business because they had their own breakthroughs and their own really powerful experiences with coaching and healing. And then they went and learned it, and now they want to offer it to people. And what that means is that you've got this whole industry in various levels of healed trauma.
That makes sense.
And when you're a trauma survivor, like I didn't even realize how deep my trauma went until the last couple of years. I know I had some like bad experiences, but as I've really delved into it and everything, I'm like, it's no wonder I've had panic attacks. It's no wonder I've been, prone to depression, and all that can make it a lot more difficult on your entrepreneurial journey, especially if you've bought into the crazy marketing that tells you that you're supposed to be making 10K in 30 days, the first 30 days of your business. And then of course, most people do not do that. It's possible, not probable. And it's very easy to get in this downward spiral of like, oh, I'm a fuck up. There's something wrong with me. I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. And the reality is, like, most of the time when you launch something, whether it's a PDF, a webinar, masterclass, whatever, like, or just an offer or whatever, usually it doesn't convert the first time. Like most people, when they're being honest, they have to put out something several times and keep tweaking it, testing it, tweaking it, testing it before they catch traction with it. So that's another problem when people are constantly putting out new PDFs. I'm like, no, you need to put out that same PDF for 90 days and just, every couple of weeks tweak something, because the things that you see where people are like, this PDF made me $20,000. It didn't happen the first time they put it out.
I was just gonna say that the gurus always say 10K in 30 days, but they don't talk about the 6 months before that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty constant thing. And Cassie and I always say, we've never met a failed entrepreneur or a failed business. We've just met somebody who quit too early. Like, you will not fail at this. If you think it was all sunshine and roses for even us, it was years of deciding what you're worth, deciding what to charge people, tweaking your website. How do we find clients? Like, there is a nonstop deluge of information coming at you, and you're trying to be like, okay, I need to go find clients. I need to do this. And I'm a panicker. Not less over the years,
Right.
but Cassia was never a panicker. She's in
Nice.
of an age where technology is her comfort zone. So I'll be like, oh my gosh, our website isn't connected, or URL acting up. She's like, stop. She's like, just stop. Like, I got it. It's fixed. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I didn't need to do that. And we see that so much with everybody else who's like, oh my gosh, my URL isn't working. My SSL isn't up. My funnel isn't connected. And for us, you'll call us and we'll be like, okay, let me check it. Like, there's the fixes can be so easy. And this is any system you use anywhere you're at. The systems are, everything's pretty in tune. We're fixing things is pretty simple. Yeah. If you come at it from a place that's level-headed.
Right.
Nothing simple if you're up here.
Yeah. And I mean, not to shame anybody for panicking, because as I said,
no.
Most, and you're not, I'm just, like really making that point, not to shame anybody from having these reactions. But it may be a clue that you need to investigate some therapy, or, work with, a breathwork coach, or, do some inner work to find out what's causing you to, to have like strong reactions to things. Right. Yeah. And then, but then you have to be careful, because you don't want to, I was just talking to Sandra Nikolic, so bad. But we were talking about the problem with not all, but some of the woo-woo community, where they're not trying to empower people. They're trying to keep people dependent. And you end up in this endless healing loop where you're just never done. Right. Not everybody does that, but that is something that some people do. And you can waste a lot of money and time on that. Like,
you could find that in tech developers too, or WordPress developers, or Kathy can speak to that. Like,
yeah, I tell that to people. I'm like, I don't want you to be dependent on me. I don't want you to have to keep coming back to me to change your website, or connect your domain, or change a word on your page, or build a new page. I want you to be empowered to do that yourself. I mean, shoot, if you have the extra money and you don't want to do it, sure, I'll help you, but you should know how to do it too.
Yeah, we want you to come to us if it's a time emergency and you're busy versus, hey, I need to come back to you and I need to keep paying you and I need you to keep updating my website. And you find this in our community where marketing firms or people will build a very complicated WordPress site that most people cannot edit. And then they have to keep coming back to them or paying that monthly retainer.
Same thing with technology as well. With people, they want to refer you to the most expensive systems that they get the highest affiliates from. They want you to be dependent on that, you know, instead of giving you a good.
So it's kind of the same cycle, or see people who've been like, oh, I've been with this marketing firm and I have to pay $5,000 a month for them to just upkeep and make edits on my website as I change my mind or change my freebie. And you shouldn't have to do that. Like, everybody, it's 2023, right?
Almost 2024, just when you get it
Over.
nailed.
Right there. Everybody should be able to maintain their own business online. If you're a bank, that's something totally different, but every entrepreneur should be able to maintain their own business without needing, not wanting, without needing a VA or a graphic designer or, you know, a person to update your technology or an email automation specialist. You don't want to need these people. You want to want them.
Right.
You know, I want a graphic designer to do all my social media. I want all, but ultimately, if I can't afford that, then does that come out of, like, does your business suffer from that? Or can you step up to the plate and take care of it? So I think that's one thing. Cassie and I always set up, even when we were working in Kajabi heavy, because that's where we started, was Kajabi. We love Kajabi. It's our favorite stepchild. Like, even when we were Kajabi heavy, we would make sure that people didn't have to come back to us. We create your graphics in Canva. You can edit those. Here's the template. You know, we make sure we're not coding any special fonts in there for you. You can edit this and it won't break for you if you update things. You know, we wanted people to be really empowered to do it on their own. Because you have to. Like,
Yeah.
Not all of us are, you know, made of money. And usually people that go into entrepreneurship are not made of money. The ones that do come into it with money usually already have a website designer or have something set up. So they're just adding a component of online entrepreneurship to their brick and mortar or whatever it is. So we want people to be comfortable. And I think that goes back to that anxiety, and how you can lessen that anxiety too is getting comfortable in the systems. You know, I have anxiety when I walk around late at night because I never do that. So it's weird for me. You know, I get anxiety. But like, people in systems, when systems break or something goes wrong, I think part of, you know, that anxiety shooting up is because I'm not comfortable here. I don't know what's going on. And if you become really comfortable with your system, or you just know who to ask, you have a chat support, you know, the email address of somebody that can help you, you know, they have a online video base, whatever it is, as long as you know where to go to ask the proper questions to get the help that you need, I think it helps people ease their mind when it comes to technology.
True. And thank you guys for pointing out that, like, you know, because there's business coaches that try to create dependency. Like, I'm definitely not saying that it's only in the woo-woo. There's a lot of predatory business owners in all online, offline, everywhere, that really a big part of their marketing is this, either it can be subtle or it can be really overt, that like you need them and you need them for life. And it's gross.
I couldn't imagine anybody needing me for life. My husband doesn't even need me for life.
Oh,
my kids don't need me for life. Like, no, please move on. Like, you got this. Enjoy.
No, I love that. I love that. Okay. So we've talked about some of this stuff, but just like anything else you guys can think of is, you know, what kind of questions do people need to be asking, like, themselves, and, you know, anybody who represents an all-in-one platform before they buy?
Go ahead, Cassie.
I can see it. She was like, she got something to say.
Wiggling her, you know. Number one, what are your key features of your website? This might look like, do I need funnels? Do I need a calendar Do I need emails? Do I need automations? Do I need a community? Do I need courses? Do I need shipping from Africa? So what do you absolutely need versus what do you want? Because a lot of times the systems might have one or the other. Number two, integrations. Not that they're necessary, especially if you're doing it all in one, but it's good to be aware of what it does and doesn't integrate into. So if you have your entire business, a 300-page website and funnels built on this thing, and you want to add a community or you want to add a specific feature, is that opportunity available, or do they have no integrations at all whatsoever?
You can keep going. I'm just just
Pricing.
learning.
That was my last thing I was going to say was pricing. Then look at pricing. You know, is it within your budget? Is it
Yeah,
scale?
I think the one thing people need to approach it instead of and everybody learns about systems from a TikTok video or a reel or a coach. It's just not something a lot of people are Googling, right? So I think one thing they need to do is differentiate themselves and their value ladder from what they're taught or what they saw. And what are you going to offer, and what do you need for that? So if you have a value ladder that's a freebie PDF, a $9 1 hour course, and then a signature course that's, you know, between $300 and $3,000. So you have your value ladder built out. You're going to need a funnel. You're going to need a large email system, or a large email sequence pushing them from the freebie into the lower level product and then into the, you know, the other product. You need to have your bucket, your marketing buckets on where people are going to come to you and where you're going to post that information to get them into that initial funnel. And then you need to decide, you know, what your marketing tactics are for that. And then you can look at a system and say, okay, I need a funnel. I need a checkout page. I need somewhere to host a you know, 1 hour masterclass video. I need some place to host my course. I need email marketing. So you look at those things and you're like, okay, that's a pretty simple system. You need one funnel and an email marketing system and a course backend. And so I think people need to write down and kind of sit in what they're going to offer, and how they're going to offer it. You know, you can only opt in people to the freebie and then only sell them on the back end, or you can push 3 things separately depending on how much manpower you have for your social media and how well you thought that through. So there's a lot of different things you can do with just 1, 2, or 3 products. But if you sit down and write it out and don't necessarily take what other people say or what other people recommend, you know, I made 6 figures by doing this. You know, it's again, not one size fits all. Do a little market research on your client base.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a client base that's, you know, single moms between the ages of 35 and 45, what are some keywords that they're looking up? And these are all free systems online that you can, you know, look up keyword search on Google. These, you know, where are they hanging out? What groups in Facebook are they? How are you going to cultivate these people and bring them in and get them to trust you? It's a highly interesting group of women anyway, right? So you have to think of these things. At least I was. You have to think of these things, and then write out what you're wanting to do with your business, and then you have to stick to it.
Yes.
You know, when you fail that first time, don't switch up your freebie. When you fail the second time, don't switch it up. Fail the third time, don't switch it up. Like,
tweak it, maybe try a different title.
Yeah.
Because it might be that people really are excited about what's in the freebie, but the title is not getting them, right? But yeah, don't go start from the, you know, ground up again.
Yeah. We get a lot of people that do that, just to scrap everything and then try over again when they were right there. Like maybe another week, maybe we've had the same freebie on one of our pages going for years. And I think we just barely in the last 3 months started getting people like, you know, like 60 opt-ins a week now. But like it sat there forever. No one wanted it. Now they want it. I don't know what changed, but it changed. So you just kind of have to wait and keep your eye on the analytics.
Yeah. Well, and I think in a nutshell, what she just said is that you need a damn good business coach to help you sort all this stuff out before you start investing heavily in tech. Because, you know, I have people, this is something I see all the time, and I would love, I would love to know what you guys see. But I see so many people that they have invested high ticket. They have invested over and over again with different mentors, one-to-one coaching, group coaching, self-study, yada, yada. They have a website, a podcast. They're showing up like hell on social media and they're still not making any money. And it's because nobody has sat down and walked with them through the foundational messaging, and helping them really get clear on what a target market really is, what a niche really is, and how to talk to those people. Do you guys see that?
We see it a lot. I always correlate it to everybody can show up on the court, right?
Mhm.
But only the team that shows up with strategy is going to win the game.
Mhm.
So you can invest all this money and you can show up, but a confused mind is always going to say no. So if you have people coming to your site and they're confused about where to go, your podcast is not directing them to a funnel, it's directing them to your website, which is full of general buttons, and we can click and forget what we're doing. If you aren't strategically utilizing user experience on your websites or your funnels and creating them to convert, you'll never make any money. Never. We have people that, we worked with this morning who have thousands of dollars in the hole on a funnel that has brought in 0 leads. And they're working with a high, with a marketing company spending a lot of money. And the marketing company is telling them, well, your analytics, your front end analytics are looking great. So there's nothing to do. We just have to wait. And that strategy is always going to win. And you have to look at strategy. You have to completely disassociate your personal feelings about it. And I always joke, Cassie is amazing at this because she will rip things apart. Like she can go into something and look at analytics and be like, oh, this is no. She'll look at things and be like, and it's completely separate from anything personal going on. You have to look at the numbers. You need to look at the analytics. You need to keep all of these things real. It's not about how much you put yourself out there.
Right.
That won't track for your conversions. If you use us for an example, Cassie and I do 0 social media right now. We stopped at some point along the way. We tried, we stopped, we tried, we stopped. We have 0, we haven't done any YouTube videos. We don't get on groups a lot. Every now and then I'll answer a group call for looking for an all-in-one system. And we run Google ads. There's no forward facing. Nobody knows who we are. It doesn't matter. They Google all-in-one systems, they can find us through Google. But we've never hired a coach. We've never done all these things or put money behind it. We've never had a podcast. I think this year we did a summit 2 weeks ago, and then this one, and that's all we've done for speaking events for the entire year.
Mhm.
We have no intention of putting ourselves out there anymore. And we've been successful.
Mhm.
So if you look at something, you're
that
like,
work,
hey,
yeah.
I'm doing all of this out here and it's not being successful. Well, maybe you need to do more back here, because success doesn't always have to come from you putting yourself out there or having a podcast or doing all the things. And I think that's the easiest sell for people, because people will be like, coaches will tend to be, oh, this is what worked for me.
Right.
And so they believe that it's a one size fits all. But it might not be. And we've told people, hey, that's not working for you and you're wasting a lot of time over there.
Mhm.
Let's get back over here, fix your funnel, set up your analytics properly, track your conversions,
Mhm.
and see what's going on. So I think one thing is people have to, there's been a few coaches we've met we haven't really liked, but for the majority, I feel like a lot of the coaches that we've come into contact with have good intentions.
Mhm.
Maybe they just lack the experience and knowledge
Mhm.
that is needed for special case scenarios when it comes
Mhm.
to certain online businesses. So I think people can learn a lot from coaches, whether it's sales, whether it's tech, whether it's business, but you also need to think for yourself and be
Yes.
able to understand keywords and research and analytics. And you have to put that hat on and study so that you can be successful. There's only so much you can learn from other people.
That's true. And I mean, you can hire, if you hire a really good OBM, online business manager, and they've trained and they really know how to do analytics and everything, that's another option, but that's going to be another expense for your business, and even if they're spoon feeding you everything and coming and saying, hey, Heather, this is what your KPIs are doing. If I don't understand what KPIs are, like, it's just all just blah, 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 and I can't, as the CEO, I can't make good decisions based on all this great data if I don't understand it, so I love that. And there are a few people that make it in business without a coach. I would say you guys are outliers. Most
Really? I feel like we're the majority. Like, I feel like
really
the majority of people do it without coaching. They kind of
interesting.
fumble through it. It's the longer way. Like, it's gonna take longer. But Cassie and I also come from a place
we're cheaters though, because like we say, like, yeah, we haven't had a business coach, but
we've worked with 1,000.
we've done that we have had a lot of business coaching clients, but we've been in marketing for 10 years.
Forever. Yeah.
So
You're not cheaters. But I do appreciate that you're pointing out, because like the one person I know who's made it big as a coach, didn't, I think they took a course at some point, but everything else was like self-taught, but their father was an entrepreneur. And I think that kind of set them up, with certain mindsets.
Fifth generation Carney.
I am
What?
a fifth generation Carney.
She's a fifth generation Carney.
Who is?
Jennifer.
Really?
Fifth generation, both sides of my family know traveling carnivals. So, and we grew up in Idaho, which is hence the weird rodeo background. Like,
Oh my God.
It's almost unbelievable you don't talk about it that often, because if you don't see the family pictures, you're like, this woman is crazy.
I don't think you're crazy, but she shared a story with me. I had some vodka, but oh my God, like, I sent her voice notes where I'm just cackling, laughing, like I'm not even
3
saying
minutes
anything.
of laughing.
Jen got some stories. This is my first time meeting Cassia, so I'm sure she has stories as well. But
Like Jen, no.
Jen blew my freaking
Sometimes
mind.
we say some things and people are like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I think like a majority of the people, well, I can correct that too. A majority of the people that come to us have not worked with a coach. Maybe they've taken a course, but most likely they have purchased a course and not taken it.
Purchased it, but didn't actually go through it.
Usually
That's
they
very
get
common.
in, they watch the first couple videos, and then they look to hire out because they're just like, no, I don't want to do it. And then they don't want to pay the money to hire out. That's a totally different summit, but
that's a thing.
It's definitely, I think the people that do invest in a high quality coach and then do what that person says,
You got to take action.
They definitely have a head up. I think Cassie and I could have easily saved maybe 2 years if we had worked with somebody.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that luxury. We had 0 startup and we took out no business loans. So
yeah,
this is us completely bootstrapping it, no debt. I would have rather taken the longer way around for that.
Well, the state of business coaching, I spent $14,000 and 11 years before I broke through, because I didn't know how to research coaches. I didn't know how to read. I didn't recognize that there was hype in so much, things. So I kept taking courses, working with coaches, and not getting the pie in the sky results. And so then, that we talked about that resilience. I had no resilience, and I had completely let myself be brainwashed. And so I would go into a depression. I would abandon my business for months. And there's a lot of people that go through that cycle, because it's an unregulated industry. And, there's people that in all niches, but, in business, they'll take one group program or somebody's course, and then they'll just like rebrand it and come out and they have the ability to bullshit and come across as like really speaking with conviction, and people buy into their stuff. They don't know how to help them, So there's a lot of people spending a lot of money and still not getting anywhere, which is why I'm doing this, and so, but I love it. If people can make it without business coaching, I think that is amazing. In my experience, like I said, I've only known one person who broke through who did not have business coaching. So, but it's a crapshoot either way.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to remember we're in a tech space too. Like if we'd been doing courses or something along those lines, or where we had to speak in front of, I don't think we would have been successful. We're just not those people. We're not,
You guys are very well
out there
spoken.
talking.
You're extremely well spoken.
We're better now because now we're just older.
Hey, take the
We don't care.
compliment. I'm taking the compliment.
I'm
No,
taking it.
you guys are very like, you're very well spoken. You seem very calm. You seem very, you seem like you're into it. So let's bring it back around. So we talked about like some of the stuff people need to be aware of before they buy. What are some red flags? And we've kind of touched on some of these, but like, what are some red flags when somebody's looking to invest in tech, upgrade their tech, that they should just see that and be like, no, I'm turning around, going the other way.
If anybody tells you it's going to solve all your problems, it will not solve all your problems. From the tech space, Cassie, can you think of anything?
I don't know how to explain it in a way that's like it. You ever looked at a system and you're like, this is cheap. If you have that feeling, I would turn back around because there's not a lot of development. If they overpromise, there's certain systems out there that say, oh, for $97, you can have unlimited accounts
for life.
For life.
Forever. That's not
how are they even going to manpower the servers? Like, it's just unrealistic business practices for me.
If they say, you get this, you get access to website builder, $27 one-time payment. To me, that's a red flag. It's just not how it works. You got to pay for hosting. You got to pay for these things on the back end.
Got to pay for your domain.
Well, not only from them, from our standpoint as a tech system, we could never sell our system for $27 lifetime or $1,500 for life and maintain the quality of our system. That's just not how it works.
We go out of business and
we go out of business in 2 years.
You have to rebuild your website anyway.
It's a quick way to make a buck. Don't get me wrong, but just
like, I guess summary, if it's too good to be true or if it looks cheap.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that applies to, when somebody's looking for a VA or an OBM or a coach or a healer or anything like
really life advice.
Yeah. Like really, like if it looks too good to be true, and where the coaching industry is one of the big problems I have with the marketing is that when that little light goes off in your head, they've planned their content, like they know psychologically like what, and they're manipulating psychologically about what's going to happen in your head at every stage. And about the time that your brain goes, wait a minute, they hit you with, well, you just got to believe. It's a mindset. If you're thinking right now that this is impossible, you just need to fix your mindset, and the first module of our program is going to help you with that. And then you're like, oh, and this is the kind of stuff that works really, really well on trauma survivors. Is that like undermining and making it feel like, oh no, we're not over promising, it's just your mindset. And you're like, oh, maybe
if
it is
you believe it, you can achieve it, sort of thing.
Yes. And it's it's like she was saying, like your success is inevitable, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen fast. It doesn't mean that you're not going to fail a lot along the way. Anybody who's setting like really unreasonable expectations it's a red flag, like in anything.
We always say, like when people are like, I want to make 6 figures a month. Do you know, I do not want to make 6 figures a month. You couldn't pay me enough money to run a business that makes 6 figures a month. You know why? Because it's a nightmare.
That's stressful.
That's a nightmare. That's a logistics nightmare. We have automations going. Things are going to break. New people coming in. You got to maintain the snowball effect. You got people asking questions. You have to maintain high quality support. You need to manage your team and your VAs and keep putting stuff on. So I would rather just make, there's 2 of us, $20,000 a month, have no employees, and call it a day. Like that's I'm not here shooting for the stars because I'm not going to know what to do when I get up there. Like, I don't want to. Oh, well, I know what they have to do. We've ran it for other people. We've had
Right.
great months and large months, but there's no way that I would want to maintain that. And that's why
Right.
you see this entrepreneur burnout. You know, you see people like
A lot of burnout.
a lot of burnout, a lot of people leaving this
Vanessa
industry.
Lau,
What's her name?
Vanessa Lau.
Vanessa Lau. She burnt out. She had $1 million a month industry.
Yeah, she's
Um,
gone. She just
and
totally
she's
disappeared off
gone.
social
Like
media.
they
She
are
went out.
gone. There's another woman in Australia sold all of her courses and then just gone. And she was, you know, $1 million months. But the amount of people that it takes, the turnover you have, the things you have to do, that's why there's a Tyler McCall that got out.
Yeah.
You see a lot of these 6-figure earners that were doing it and weren't even saying that they were doing it or weren't being pushy or red flaggy. They were great people, great coaches. Gone. Like, nope, can't do it anymore. Just burn out and leave.
And I wonder how much of that was due to pushy mentors that maybe they had that were like, okay, we got you here. How are we going to get to the next thing? And, you know, maybe they weren't as in tune. You know, I'm with you. I don't want a bunch of, I don't know. I don't ever want an employee at all. I don't even want a bunch of contractors, right? I just, that kind of stuff just makes me nuts. Like, I'm a good manager, but I don't enjoy it. Right. So, but you know, maybe the person wasn't aware, wasn't really thinking through. But I do think a problem is like a lot of the big business coaches, the way they're able to justify their prices is by pushing you to make more, right? You know, you're not going to hire somebody for $1 million a year. I don't know anybody who's charging that, but I'm sure there's somebody. If your goal is to just make 10K months, right? And so I see a lot of this kind of grooming in the, you know, in the coaching space about, you know, you want to make 50K months, you want to do because you're not going to buy their 10K course or their 10K group program if you don't think you're going to make 20K months from it, right? So I think that happens a lot. That's really interesting.
And I think it's just that unrealistic expectation of what it takes to run a large scale business. You know, a lot of people coming into entrepreneurship, they come from a space of, you know, they're yogis or they're great at holistic healing or they're great at sports, and nothing can mentally prepare you for the monotonous task of hiring people or creating SOPs. Like, how many times have Cassie and I sat down to do SOPs and we both want to just gouge our eyes out? Like, there are these tasks that are not fun.
Right.
There's nothing fun about being on the side and running the business.
It's
Everything fun about meeting with people, going places.
Somebody.
Yeah.
It's fun to his stress about, is this the person the right one? And then to retrain them, and
it's a lot. And that's why you'll see people burn out. So don't go for 6-figure months. Just go for
Well,
sustainable growth.
Well, sustainable growth. I mean, and that's, you know, I didn't even know, you know, precisely what was going to come out in this interview, but I knew I wanted to talk to you guys, you know, because everything, you know, all my dealings with just Jen, because I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Cassie until today, but always just felt very grounded. Like, it wasn't hype. It was just like, okay, this is what you want to do. Okay, this is what we can do for you. You know, like everything has just felt just real, you know, and there are a lot of real people and there are a lot of great people online. The sleazy people scream louder. And so it's, you know, and people fall for it. People fall for the over promises, that they fall for the hype, and then they go spend money and they don't get results. And that's what I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Like, we need to have an honest conversation. So I really appreciate your honest take on things.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will do that and fall for that because they're desperate to make it work.
Yeah.
You know, Cassie and I always joke that we could both work at 7-Eleven and we would still run this business because this is what we love. If we weren't making money at it, we'd have some other gig and still be doing this full time. We love this. It is not set to be our moneymaker. It doesn't have to be. We are both perfectly capable of earning money however we earn it. There's always money to be made.
Sure.
But we do this because this is what we love. We love working with each other. We love helping people through tech anxiety and issues. And we want to help people create sustainable businesses, not what is it, fire in the pan businesses where they can get rich quick or get those 100K months where it's something that they can't pass down to their children. We want you to create a business online that could be passed down to your family. We want you to create something that's sustainable, that doesn't require you to be in front of the camera all the time, that you can build and grow with and bring family members on. Like Cassie and I are trying to get, well, her nephew, my son, like, come and join the business. Let's keep building things. I think sustainability is like hightailed out the window sometimes when people are like 6-figure months, like there's no sustainability there. Like,
Well,
get to 20, sustain
right.
it for a year,
Right.
see how you feel mentally.
Right.
How's your books looking? How's your tech looking? How's everything holding up? Then worry about, where you're going to go from there.
What does this next level look like? And is that, what is that what I want? Do I want to hire that many people? So I think those are just such good things. So what free resource are you guys offering to attendees and why should they grab it now?
I don't remember what we decided on, Cassia.
We're offering attendees. We are offering 30-day free trial of Digital Course Hive. Normally we just offer 14 free days, but we're going to double that. For anybody who is listening.
What was the other thing? Oh,
And then we're also doing prizes. And so I think you guys said that you would do like a website or a funnel audit.
Yeah, where we
for
actually do
one
a video.
person.
Yeah, we go down everything, give you copy, suggestions, graphic audit, ideas, things that are going to make your website or your funnel convert much better.
Nice. Y'all, that is so valuable. Like an outside perspective is so valuable. And I can promise you that they're not going to try to hard sell you on anything from that, right?
Yeah, your funnel can be in anything. Like it doesn't, no. And all the things are going to be, you can implement on your own. So if you already have a funnel or a website, it's already in there, it's already built. But some people just don't live in tech UX like we do, where you can say, hey, let's add a button here, let's change this up, let's make this smaller, let's make this bigger. It's just a way to really lay things out to optimize conversions.
Nice. All right. Well, ladies, any final words about all of this?
I can't think of a single thing. Like, if anybody has any questions, let us know. We are not speakers, but we can answer all your questions.
Should we say, I don't know if you're going to edit this, so maybe I'm completely ruining this video, but can we say, if you to request to get your stuff, go to digitalcoursehive.com/Heather or /
There's going to be a link there's going to be a link. So you guys, when you're watching this, you should have gotten an email. If I have my shit together, you've gotten an email the day that this interview is coming out, and it's going to have links where you can download their freebie, and go check out, their website, their social media and everything. And then we'll announce who won the prize.
Oh, perfect.
We're loosey goosey around here. This is not, this ain't Oprah. Well, thank you both for your honesty. Thank you for, taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and talk to everybody here. And thank you for giving just so much value, so that people can be more informed consumers.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
If anybody has any questions.
Perfect. All right. Well, bye everybody. Join us again. We'll have even more experts. So much good information that's going to help you make investments that are actually going to help your business. Because there's a difference between investing and investing well. We're wanting to teach you and empower you to invest well. So thanks everybody. Bye, Cassia. Bye, Jen.
Bye.